Hi there. Welcome. Don't go anywhere. Stay. If you clicked here because of the title or anything in there, I'm going to talk about everything. So stay and listen because this is very important. I am so ingratiated for your presence here, so I will try to make your moments here worthwhile. And guys, if you like my presentations and you want to come back, please give me the free subscribe click, and comment, please. Your comments are welcome, good and bad, they are welcome. I was right. Argentina is the most racist country in South America. So a few people came and told me that I was wrong and told me that I was racist, Like one guy comes and says, to say that an entire country is racist is racist. Well, racist. Now you tell me, where are the blacks? Where are the blacks? So since I'm racist for saying that, that was Petilio Clark. Petilio Clark, where are the blacks? Myra is crazy in Argentina trying to find blacks because we viewers are not very happy. He's getting reactions about his not finding blacks. He's getting, comments. His viewers are not happy. He's not providing for us. How could you go to Argentina and not find us a black community? Where are the blacks, Petino? So,
I go back to Buenos Aires. I plan to actually dig deep and see if I can find an Afro community. But technically, it's quite hard. You guys know I'm a traveler. I travel a lot, but I travel a lot and also uncover a lot. But in this case, it's been quite hard. So let's see how it goes.
So today we're going to talk, as I've always been talking about, I am Myra, who is now on a task to find the black community in Argentina. I said it, guys. No one could say that I didn't say it because I got punched for it. I told you that Argentina is the most racist country in South America, and you didn't believe me. Well, now I am Myra is proving it without even having, I am Myra will never admit to it racism, right? So somebody has to admit to it for him. So we are admitting the reason why there are no blacks that he can find in Argentina is because Argentina is the most racist country in South America. What did they do? They killed the blacks. They killed them with diseases like pox. Remember the pox that was eradicated, the same that the Europeans used to give to the Native Americans to kill them off. That's how they killed them, because whenever they wanted to do research, they did research on us blacks. They did research on them and killed them off with the worst diseases ever. And it's those things that you can go like, the poor child is born and is like, what are they doing to me? They're born into the situation of being a victim, right? People from Africa don't know that because people like Myra went to a homogeneous school where he was the majority, so when he sees black, he behaves exactly like our forefathers behaved when they were selling us over as slaves for the American Europeans. Okay, so this is how we got sold over by people like Myra, because Myra right now, he just made a deal with this Argentinian lady. When he asked about the Argentinian lady about blacks, the Argentinian lady said they disappeared. White Argentinian lady. So they made a pact. In 10 years' time, Myra is going to find his European, woman that he can engender his European half-blood children to start the process of purging his blood of blackness. That means purging his blood of congrats mom. Taking out the black in him. Congrats mom contributed to 50% of that black, and his father, who is missing in action, MIA, contributed to the other. So he's going to start cleaning his blood of that, because that's what the Argentinians call what they did to the blacks. They cleaned the blood, limpiar la sangre. Limpiar la sangre de la negra. Take out the nigger in us. That's basically what the Argentinians did, and that's why the blacks disappeared. They even have in history what they did was they send us blacks, okay, to the front lines to fight, our men to fight, so that there were no more men to engender, because the blacks would be in the front line while all the little whites, they were behind. So they killed all the blacks in the front lines of war, and then the whites could run away. Yeah, that's how they got rid of the blacks. They turned us against each other, okay? Like they are still doing here in America, over there in Africa. They're still turning us in Haiti. Oh my God. They turn brother against brother, and then they take the land. And that's what's happening to Haiti. They're taking the land as we run for our lives. Okay? And then the ones that are mixclando, like, they mix the blood. That is, when you mix the blood, it's like the washing machine. You remember Marwa said he was going to wash his clothing? He's also thinking of washing his blood of the black DNA, so that it could, the white DNA could predominate. So he is giving himself over to the Europeans to take. That is when you give. Why didn't he go and turn in himself to the police? Yet he's turning himself into the Europeans so he can become white. Okay, so this is what his plan is. Instead of trying to find the history to help us fight against the oppression, he is actually submitting himself to go and help the oppressor become white. Okay, you have to realize that the Argentinians are not pure white, okay, but they made sure that they can get as back to white as much as possible, because you have to realize Spanish people, okay, are not pure white, because of the fact that the Spanish people, particularly in the south of Spain, they mixed with Africans way back before slavery time, back in the time of Shakespeare. Yeah, they were already importing slaves, but even before Shakespeare, because Shakespeare got the story Othello from an archaic account about this black Moor, okay, who was very prominent and very well off in Spain. Okay, that is an African. A Moor was an African, and when he was so prominent, he wanted to marry the most beautiful white woman in Spain. So he married his white wife Desdemona, and there was this little gossiper, Iago, who went ahead and kept on gossiping, trying to break them apart, until he finally convinced Othello, the Moor, the African, that his wife was cheating on him, and he went in there and stabbed her, killed her, and when he realized that he had mistaken what he saw, he killed himself. That is the tragedy of Othello, which we know that Shakespeare, most of his plays are tragedies. You like Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, most of Shakespeare, or Macbeth, most of his plays are tragedies. So Othello likewise was a tragedy of an African living in Spain. This is to tell you of the African traits, and this is why the Spanish people have a lot of African traits in them, even though they may be white per se, but they still have our genotype embedded from the time that the Moors invaded, if you will, the south of Spain. And it was easy for the Africans to invade the south of Spain, because Spain is literally like connected to Africa. It's connected, I think, to the Middle East, and then you could go and you could actually walk, from what I saw, from the Middle East, like Turkey area, into Europe. And actually there's the Mediterranean Sea looking at is that sea that separates Spain from Africa. It's a little strip from one like Teles or something, one of the cities of Morocco. It's just a little strip of water, so that if you build strong ships, you could easily travel across. So the African I've been doing some research, Even though I'm short of time, I still had to do research because I'm about colorism. And, most of these people who come from Spanish descent mixed somehow or another with natives and with blacks, and they created what we call now the Latino group, the Spanish descent. I mean, the English did it too. They're not Spanish descent. They're not Latinos. They did it too. They created the mixed race. But the problem with the British is that they're also racist. Is that even if you were a small percentage mixed, they didn't allow you. Now, when you look at geography, if you look at the map of the globe of the world, one of the things you will discover is that the reason why there were Moors in Spain was because Spain almost touches North Africa. When you mix the blood, it's like the washing machine. You remember Marwa said he was going to wash his clothing? He's also thinking of washing his blood of the black DNA, so that it could the white DNA could predominate. So he is giving himself over to the Europeans to take. That is when you give. Why didn't he go and turn in himself to the police? Yet he's turning himself into the Europeans, so he can become white. Okay, so this is what his plan is. Instead of trying to find a history to help us fight against the oppression, he is actually submitting himself to go and help the oppressor become white. Okay, you have to realize that the Argentinians are not pure white. Okay, but they made sure that they can get as back to white as much as possible. Spanish people, particularly in the south of Spain, they mixed with Africans way back before slavery time. Back in the time of Shakespeare, they were already importing slaves. But even before Shakespeare, because Shakespeare got the story Othello from an archaic account about this black Moor, okay, who was very prominent and very well off in Spain. Okay, that is an African. A Moor was an African, and when he was so prominent, he wanted to marry the most beautiful white woman in Spain. So he married his white wife Desdemona, and there was this little gossiper, Iago, who went ahead and kept on gossiping, trying to break them apart until he finally convinced Othello, the Moor, the African, that his wife was cheating on him, and he went in there and stabbed her, killed her, and when he realized that he had mistaken what he saw, he killed himself. That is the tragedy of Othello, which we know that Shakespeare, most of his plays are tragedies. You like Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, most of Shakespeare or Macbeth, most of his plays are tragedies. The Moors were actually very prominent people. So this is why the whole population of the Moors exists. And when you go to the south of Spain, I think it's like Salamanca, okay, so you discover that there was a very high Moor population early on in Spanish history. And this is why the Spanish have the black in them, even in Spain, and especially in that area in the south of Spain. So the reason why is because of the geographic location of Spain, that Africans used to travel across the Mediterranean Sea. They used to travel across that sea and hit Spain because of the proximity. Because I think if you, from Morocco, we understand that the Spanish, they mix, okay? That was something back during the time of colonization. You find a lot of mixing of Spanish blood with the blacks and the other indigenous people. So we were expecting to find that in Argentina, but why is it that we didn't find it? It's not because the genetics don't exist. Most of them have the genetics of the mixture, okay? Because most of them are Spanish, naturally, most of them have a little black in them because of the history that I just gave you with the Moors and their sailing across the sea, or even perhaps the lands were probably even touching where they could just walk to Spain, okay, to the south of Spain. So we that, and then you have, of course, the developing of, colorism because of that. Because most blacks think that the little white, if they could have a little white with them, if they could swirl a little bit, that makes them better than the other blacks. It's really a disadvantage to the blacks that are being engendered in the society, because what ends up happening is that during the time of colonialization, you have to realize that the mixed bloods, the 0.5s as Kenyans call them, I don't know if they still call them that today. Of course, their parents had the land and the property to give them that priority over blacks. And so then those supposedly white Argentinians we are seeing, they obviously must have a little bit degree of black in them. If you're not accepted by blacks, by whites, you can still create your own society as the superior race. And I'm sure that exists, because I'm sure it exists in Haiti. So these people, they are claiming that the blacks disappeared in Argentina. All right, as Marwa meet one person from the other, where are the blacks? They disappeared, they say. Marwa, I mean, that he's a Moor. He's like a Spanish Moor. That's what he wants. Okay? So Marwa decides, you know what? No problem. Because I'm not trying to preserve black people anyway. So why do I want to care about how you kill them off? With disease. I learned, be it with disease, or they said that what happened is during the wars in Argentina, they would take all the blacks and put them on the front lines. So the blacks' lives were sacrificed to save the whites. All right, so this country is not racist. So my idea is, they're all out there in Argentina so they could clean their blood and become the next Afro-Argentinian. So what is that saying? That is telling you that the future Afro-Argentinian that Marwa is talking about is a future of colorists. So why do we want to go there? Unless you are like Marwa, you want to clean your blood. So poor congrats, mom. Her genotypes are being cleaned by Marwa. Marwa doesn't want them because Marwa wants European, okay? So that he could get a better passport. The European is going to get him a better passport. So Marwa wants to clean his blood in 10 years. That's his promise. Because he realized that his YouTube channel has been around for almost 10 years and he hasn't met that European lineage yet. Okay, so he's giving us 10 years. Since the lady said in 10 years' time, we will have Afro communities. What the heck is that? I mean, if that's not racist, I mean, what is? Okay, to say that you cannot account for the history. Okay, because you know what they say, old is better. That history that you destroyed, that you killed, you can't provide for. You want to create a new one? A new one of colorism, one where people like Marwa. So guys, those of you who want black and white, who want the mixture, run to Argentina, because in 10 years time you will be able to purge your blood of blackness for your next generation, as they continue to help wash out the entire world of the black genotypes and phenotypes, particularly because the genotypes are there for life, but of the black phenotypes. So these are people who have black in them, so they enlighten themselves, all right, from one generation to the other, through marriage and childbearing, breeding. So they breed themselves out of looking black, out of having the black phenotypes, though they may still have black genotypes. So the genotypes we will not see because they become so recessive that they do not express. But they have cleaned their blood of the black phenotypes. And I was watching some videos where the videos actually do, and I put the links for you guys so you could do your own research, that there are blacks in Buenos Aires who claim to be of Afro descent. They do look black. There are women in there that I see, dancing, who are black, okay? But most of them or like the Afro-Indians, they're mixed, you know. So it's very hard to find like pure blacks, and you know, it's gonna be very rare. But you do have the ones who carry the black phenotype close to, like, let's say 90%. You're gonna find those in Buenos Aires. Okay, that's what my research showed. So I put up a few documents that Marwa could look and see.
Casa siempre se explicó, somos negros, somos negras. Y cuando la gente te diga, efectivamente, sos negra. Or people talk to you in English, in Portuguese, or any other language because they think that if you are black, you are.
So these people, they have Spanish in them, but they are whitening the race. That's another word of saying limpiar la sangre. You whiten the race by, you know, marrying whiter and whiter and whiter to remove the black in you. And that's what looks like happened in Argentina, because even I did my research, and the people who turned out to be black, there were people who, there was a woman that I saw who was being interviewed. She was black, but you can see in her hair, she still had the texture, okay, of white in her hair. She had the European texture, you know, the soft curls, okay, in her hair. So the phenotype of the European trait is like impossible to not find in Argentina, you know, among the few, the skeleton of the black population. So according to my research, there is a black population in Buenos Aires, and there's also they also have, you know, evidence that they had slaves, which is to tell you that they are racist, that because they eradicated the slaves, they eradicated that black race, no, be it through whitening of the race, be it through putting them in the front line of battle so that they could all die, and killing them off with diseases, or scaring them, oppressing the environment so much that they had to run away and go to neighboring cities. We noticed that the Argentinian Spanish, I don't know if it's from Castellano, which is a part of you know, the Spanish that is spoken up in northern Spain, or if it's not Castellano, it is it's Portuguese influence, because we know that they're all Latin, right? But they have a lot of that is Portuguese. You know, like plaja is Portuguese. Okay, so the way they pronounce the j sound, which we don't find in Spanish, and then they pronounce it with weird words, like the double L's they pronounce with the j, where like yama, they say shama, shama, you know, they j, jama or shama, they say shama just like Portuguese. Chamame Claudine against racism. Chamame Claudine. Chamame, I am called Claudine in Portuguese. Chamame, and they are saying shama in Argentina. So in Argentina, there's a lot of Portuguese mixed in there. So very interesting to for one to research to find out why there's so much Portuguese language influence in Argentina. So this is what I had to say. Argentina turns out to be the most racist country in South America, as I had said, to the point where they killed all the blacks. And I am Myra should be able to find a very, 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 very small population of blacks, but they're all going to have white genotypes in them because they survive because of those white genotypes. But I dare him to find any pure black who survived without a white genotype. I dare him to find it. Now tell me, who's the racist one, me or Argentina? Tell me, who's racist, me or Argentina? I'm doing my research. Argentinians, those whites and Argentinians cannot account for a black population. They said that we disappeared because we are so inhumane for us. So we just disappeared. They don't know what happened to us, okay? They couldn't even say, you know, how horrible. And all these people who are claiming to be black, look at their phenotypes. How black are they? They are not pure black. Which one of them are black like me? How many of their hair is black like mine? Okay? They have a little bit of the oiliness and softness to their hair. okay, and their color, their skin also has a little bit of the oil mixed with the white. So how many of them are 100% African? And you could say the same about the Afro-Indians, okay? Because I'm sure there are pure black Afro-Indians, but we did not really find them either, okay? All of them are mixed. So when you look for your kind, you look for your kind. You don't look for traces of the phenotype. You look for the 100% genotype and the 100% phenotype to let you know that this place had made life tolerable for us to live in. But Argentina, apparently, from what our research is showing right now, has not made life tolerable for us to live.
Wow, okay.
I looked at the video so far. All of these people are mixed blood. None of them are 100% white, black, except for one lady whose skin color was dark, but still her hair had the phenotype of European in it. The trace of the manipulation, of the abuse of imperialism by those savage Europeans. So, sorry, those of you who are Europeans, but it is savage. My own teachers used to tell me that they were savages indeed. And they also told me that it wasn't all their fault. They told me, you know what? It wasn't just us who, this is what my teachers told me in America, all right, in New York. It wasn't just us who went ahead and bought you guys. It was your own brothers and sisters selling you over, and that's the colorism part. That's the part where you see our own brothers and sisters, as soon as they can find a little white, you know, all of a sudden they don't call themselves black anymore. You see D. Did you see D in Indonesia? D goes to Indonesia, and she's saying thinks she's Coco girl. She thinks she's Israelite. You know, who's every day saying Mzungu price. D is now saying, D actually is talking in Swahili to the Indonesians. Are you charging me Mzungu price? What do the Indonesians know about Mzungu price? She could have said, are you charging me tourist price? They don't even speak English as it is, but they speak something that's called like Botswana or something. All right? She could have said, are you charging me tourist price, right? Because I'm a black tourist. But D doesn't consider herself a black tourist. She's among those, I guess, mixture, because Asian is mixed with black, right? These mixed people, and she's asking them if she thinks she's Mzungu. Are you charging me Mzungu price? So this is what I'm saying. Like, some of us guys, you know, as soon as we see a little white person, all of a sudden we are Mzungu, and then we are better than the next. So that's what my teachers used to tell me, how we used to sold each other over through the process of colorism. And they admitted that they, too, were definitely at flaw, and they were savages. So I'll leave it up to you guys, those of you who are interested in knowing the struggle of the black race, to go to Argentina, to go to the web pages and find out about the black communities in Argentina. Because as far as Marwa is concerned, he will be the one engendering that black community soon, in 10 years' time, washing his future of the blood of Congrats Mom. I am on a mission to save the black race. All right, I'm on a mission to erase all of the hardships that I had of colorism, and save the black race of black people trying to sell us over, of white people who are helping them. I am on a mission to save us of the oppressions that we are facing from society to society. So I am here to search and to speak the truth of what I see. I don't only research, but I have experienced some of these things that I talk about, and I'm able to impart when I see something similar, because when we experience something, sometimes it is difficult for us to express it right there. It might be dangerous. We might get shot. You know how when there's a gun pointed at you, you're not gonna say anything, you know? And that gun can be symbolic of many things in our lives that inhibit us from speaking at the moment. But when we do find the time to speak, we will speak, because we need a point of exhaust. And this is my point of exhaust. And usually when you find a point of exhaust, because one of the things in life is, when there's a problem, so long as you deny the problem's never going to go away, because you're denying it. So you're actually nourishing it most of the time, especially if there's a group that wants it there. So when you deny it, okay, you're nourishing them, you're nourishing the problem, and you're empowering them to continue oppressing you. Okay? But as soon as you admit the problem, that is the first step towards reformation and towards improvement. If you never admit the problem, how do you expect anything to be improved? Now, the problem, of course, with admitting the problem is the adverse effects it may have on you, because of the social environment, because of the lions that are ready to eat you and tear you down for admitting it. But once you find the right shields, with your shields and your guards, you can go ahead and you admit it. And this is why I am here fighting against colorism, because somebody told me, I think his name was Petulio Clark, says, to say that an entire country is racist. Well, so far, you have to prove me wrong. Find the one black that is a descendant from slave, that does not have any white in them, that survived the atrocity of oppression in Argentina, and then we'll talk. All right, all of them, they're fair-skinned or their hair is soft. Okay, tell me, which one of them has pure black phenotypes? Okay, you can see the white genotypes in them. Okay, so I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. And if any of you want to prove me wrong, you're just going to have to find me that black person, 100% black genotype. Or I get it, nobody is really 100%, but you know what I mean. Who does not have that very strong white features genotype indicating the oppressive moment in Argentina. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what I have to say, if you want to support me, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and if you have anything to say, do not hesitate to comment. Your comments are all welcomed.